today we'll be looking at how to set up the FS i6x. Now let's go ahead and power it on here. Okay, this is what it looks like when you power it on. Now, I'm just going to power that off, and then let's just pretend that it's messed up in your bag. You got your drone on ready, just for example, although you should always turn your remote control on first. We're going to turn this on. It'll give you a warning if any switches or anything go out of place, so just make sure that they're all in place. The remote control doesn't care about the VAR switches. So this is what it looks like when you turn it on. We're going to hold down the OK button, and then it takes you to the menu. So you have system and setup. Let's go through system, press OK to go into the system. So then you've got model select, model name, type select. So you can click airplane or glider, which is regular, and a whole heap of other different ones which we don't really care about. So just click cancel to cancel it, obviously. But if you do want to save it, you hold down the cancel button. And then we've got RX setup, trainer mode, student mode, stick mode. So stick mode is whether you're in mode 2, mode 3, mode 4, or mode 1, I think it goes down to, yeah. And then you've also got the LCD brightness, and I think 10, which is the factory default, is the best. Or you can choose whatever you want. Firmware version, firmware update, factory reset, and aux switches. So to set up the aux switches, just going to click OK, and then as you can see, these are all on. Okay, so now we'll go off RX setup, going to click OK. So RF standard, so this will just change it to this mode instead of 2A, so we don't want to do that. So then you've got RX battery, which is, so when you get a remote control, you usually get some kind of receiver with it. For example, like that receiver, this has a telemetry, and so that means that the receiver talks to the remote control. So if it's a low battery, you can set whether it's low, alarm, or high. So that's basically it there. I'm going to click cancel. Failsafe, you want to make sure that you set up this so you got channel 1 off. Then you change it what it's set to, so you can change it to on, and okay. Then you can click 0%, and then if I change it to this way, and then okay, you see it changes so that it will deflect channel 1 that way. So you need to set that up. I would just turn them all on and in the middle, and then see how I hold down the cancel button, and then that saved it. That's what I'm talking about. Now go out of there, sensor list. We won't worry about all this because we don't have any sensors. Output mode, you can click OK. Usually your receiver will come with an S bus, an I bus, and maybe a PPM, and maybe PWM, you never know. Might come with all of them. So if you're going to use iBus, you keep this on PWM, and then you just make sure that that is S-bus, because the serial output will be S-bus. So don't worry about that. It's confusing at first. Basically, it doesn't matter what it says over here or here. If it's got serial output, it will output iBus, so long as you've got it on PWM. Then you got iBus setup. Just leave it on channel 1. That's what I would suggest. That's been working for me. So server frequencies, don't mess around with that. And low signal alarm, so if you can change that to be on or off. Just leave that on, I'll just suggest, because it is quite handy. And that's everything in there. And now we'll go back to the menu, and now we'll click over to function setup. Click OK, so you can reverse anything by just up and down, and you can just do that for all the channels. Endpoints, so how far it can go, and then to change where that marker is, you have to move the stick, and it has to be over that side. And then display, so this just shows you your channels working to make sure that everything's working. Mine is, because sometimes these things on the internal area in here, some of the wires, sometimes they break. So I have to solder some new wires on in here and hot glue all them up, because otherwise they might break again. But do that at your own risk. Then you've got aux channels, so you can assign aux channels to your switches. So like this switch, you can set it up to be on that switch there, or this one here. You just need to set that up. Okay, so we'll go out of there, and there's some trim, which is basically the same as the trim buttons, except for it's not physical trims. Dual rates and expo, throttle curve, mixers, and all the other good stuff. Yeah. So that's basically all the features. So now, a regular setup for a regular aeroplane. Basically how it has it right now, you could just plug it in and you could go fly. But there are a few extra features that you might want to know about. So number one, make sure you set up your models, and then make sure you trim out your airplane, obviously, and make sure. And then you've got trainer mode here. You can switch that on and off, or you can turn it on with a switch. To be honest, I don't really know what that does. It obviously helps you with something. If you know, tell me down in the comments below. And over here, you might want to set up the throttle curve mixes and elevons. If you have a flying wing, for example, or elevons and V-tails if you've got that kind of thing. And then throttle hold, just click OK, and then you can change it on or off, and then the value, and that's it. Basically all you would need to know about an airplane. Now for a quad. So first things first, you want to make sure that your outputs are all working, and that's the first thing you want to do. Other than that, it also should be ready to do that. You just need to set up the aux switches and stuff like that. So we'll go into here, we'll go into the function setup, press OK, and then we'll go to aux channels. So now URA is these things here. So this is URA here, URB, and then we've got switch A, switch B, switch C, and switch D, I think. I forget what order they're in, but there's something like that. And so you can just change the channel. So channel 5 is URA. I like to have it so that on this switch is channel 5, channel 6, channel 7, channel 8, channel 9, and then channel 10. Because that's the easiest to remember. And remember that these aux switches in Betaflight will be aux switch 1, aux switch 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, because the controls take up 4 channels, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why they're like that. And yeah, that's about it. And then as you can see, these ones are assigned none. That's because I haven't set this remote control up yet. And so yeah, that's basically all you need to know. Now if you're going to bind, you hold down this button here, and then you power it on, and then RX binding. And to access the factory, I don't know what you would call it, factory menu, so you can do stick adjust to adjust the outputs of your sticks, how far they can go, and then there's a whole heap of other things, but I don't think you should mess around here very much, so just leave it like that. That's all you really need to know about how to set up this flysky i6x. That's it. See you in the next video. Please subscribe.